So I think the last ones are joining us little by little. I want to welcome you to this year's onboarding event for the Bachelor in Business Administration. My name is Edona. I'm a research associate with the Bachelor. Today I'm here with Christina Zenker, Susan Gmünder, Andrea Wahl, and we're also very happy that Ms. Strel could be able to join us from the contextual studies. Before we start, I have a quick remark about this presentation and onboarding event. We will record it, so if you don't want to be in the recording, you can leave now and have a look at the recording afterwards. It will be uploaded to Canvas. So, before we start, congratulations on completing the assessment year, and welcome to the Bachelor in Business Administration at the University of St.Gallen. Just quickly, before we start with the information about the Bachelor in Business Administration, we've prepared a Mentimeter. You can scan the QR code with your iPhone or other smartphone, or you just can simply go to menti.com and put this code in there. During the whole presentation, you will be able to ask your questions in Mentimeter. If you have questions that you want to ask one of the students, please put @student before your questions. If you have a question about contextual studies, just put @CS before your question, and then we will know that it's a question for the students or a question for Frau Strel. So let me start by introducing us. Who is the Bachelor in Business Administration? You can see us here in one picture. So we're a team of 6 people. With us is Jan-Marco Leijmeister, which is the academic director, Christina Zenker, who is the executive director of the Bachelor in Business Administration. Most of the time you will have the friendly voice of Susan Gmünder on the phone, and mostly also of Andrea Wahl. I think with me you won't have too many contact points, but if you have questions concerning your bachelor thesis or any other subjects, you can also text me anytime. Then what are we doing? So we're the mediating body between the students, the lecturer, and the administration. Our role is to inform each other. So if you have some issues or if you have something that you want to improve within a lecture, you can come to us, or then we will have a look at it and try to solve a problem or an issue. Also, we are advising students regarding their plans within the bachelor studies. So for example, if you have questions concerning your curriculum or your specialization, we will talk to you and we will have a look at it. Also, we're responsible for the curriculum planning overall. So we are trying to have the most interesting Bachelor in Business Administration and are innovating the program from time to time. And how can we improve the Bachelor in Business Administration? We have this evaluation group that meets 2 times each semester. And I think Tim, who is a student who is here with us today, will quickly tell you something about it.
Yeah, thank you. So hi, everybody. My name is Tim, and I completed my 6th semester in the Bachelor of Business Administration. And I will introduce you to our evaluation group. And as you might know, there was a big reform of the Bachelor in Business Administration 2 years ago. So I was one of the first students who started with the new Bachelor in Business Administration. And the program management founded the evaluation group, which meets once per semester. Why did I join the group? I think that feedback is always very important, and I wanted to contribute and to give my feedback to help improving the whole program as for the next generations. It's a unique possibility to give feedback, to discuss important topics, and of course, to get firsthand information about the program from the program management. So I can tell you that you will always have the best information about the different things going around. One important thing that we discussed last year and had an impact was, for example, the split of the midterm exams, that they will not take place at one day, but got splitted for 2 days. So it's more convenient for all students to use this possibility. And of course, there are some things that we and the program management cannot change, and they will explain why it's not possible. And that is also good to know, and will help you in your daily life. So I had so many positive experiences with the group, and we had a lot of fun activities, for example, in the summer this year. So I want to say to you that you definitely have to join the group and have an impact. You won't regret it. Thank you.
So thank you, Tim. And I will take on this. Well, if you want to join the evaluation group, or if you have any improvements for the Bachelor in Business Administration, you can always write us an email to majorbwl.unisg@unisg.ch. And also, if you want to take part of the evaluation group, or if you have just any other comments on the bachelor studies. So quickly, for you to know, what is our value proposition? Maybe how can we improve it together in the future? Our value proposition, or we are aiming to be the best Bachelor in Business Administration for integrative and holistic management. This one has 4 pillars. So we have top faculty, top courses, and top program, and also top research. And with our Bachelor in Business Administration, we're one of the flagship programs within the University of St.Gallen, but also at higher scope, so within Europe, within the comparison with Europe business schools. We're trying to have an integrative perspective and a holistic education. That's why you have also like skills and all the contextual studies in languages, and not only the business part. With the combination of our research excellence and practice, we always have the newest insights and try to transform these insights into the impact. This is due to our excellent professors and due to their outstanding teaching. And one day, maybe if you are after 3 or 4 years, you're one of these fellow students, and there you can see also the impact that was generated from the Bachelor in Business Administration. For example, the founder of you, or Kilian Wagner, or the founder, Leah. But until then, you have to do some courses, and let us have an overview at the curriculum. So your curriculum, as you might know, is built in 2 parts. So one part are the core studies, and the other part are the contextual studies. Within the core studies, you have compulsory courses that you have to do. I'm sorry. These are, for example, statistics, but there are also marketing, leadership, and some other fun stuff. Then you have some part of the studies that are core electives. There you have to do credits within this bucket, but you can choose among a long list of courses. And there are some electives where you are free to choose any of them. In the contextual studies, you have skills and languages, and also other concentration focuses, for example, history or psychology. Important for you to know is that you have to complete 12 ETCS within another language. So, for example, if you're studying in English, you have to complete 12 ETCS in German within your core studies. And also important to know is that one ETCS is about 30 hours of workload. So this one is calculated the learning, but also going to the lectures and doing your homework or any other university related things. So this one was what we suggest you. Today with us is one student. Her name is Salome, who will tell you how she managed her curriculum and how she designed her individual curriculum.
Okay, hi everybody. My name is Salome, and I just completed as well my 6th semester, as well as Tim. And I will tell you now how I designed my personal curriculum and give you some tips and tricks. I think the fundamental difference from the course schedule published by the BBL program management is the division of mandatory courses, as you just saw it, over the 4 bachelor semesters. It is recommended that all of them, except for like the capstone and the bachelor thesis, should be taken in the 3rd or in the 4th semester. I have distributed the required courses plus minus over all of the 4 bachelor semesters. The learning phase for this amount of decentral credits, which you read like in January and February, is not sufficient in my opinion. For instance, I primarily took mandatory courses in the 3rd semester when I did not so, as I just recommend you. Which made the semester very strict and unbalanced. Looking back, I would definitely not do it again this way. When choosing then compulsory courses, I always balance like mathematical and learning by heart subjects. So as for example, statistics and empirical social research. I would also recommend this to you. In principle, I would write 12 to a maximum of 16 credits in a semester in decentralized exams. 3 compulsory subjects, as Tim already mentioned, can be written in central exams after the break, but you have to keep in mind that like often the exams are on the same day, but it just heard that it changed. So, but I would even though split it over 2 semesters, so it won't be too much. For example, I took like marketing and leadership in the 3rd semester, and then I did ACA in the 5th semester. Another tip is that you should definitely take ACA before finance because some elements build on it. I did finance in my exchange where this was the case, but it is also recommended in the course plan from the university. So I think it can be applied as well here. Now I have like 3 essential points from my perspective, which you should definitely think about now before bidding. First of all, do you want to go on an exchange? If yes, you should think about where do you want to go to exchange? When do you want to go to the exchange? What core subjects, compulsory subjects would you like to write in the exchange? And is it likely that you can write these subjects there? For example, I went to exchange on spring semester, which often starts in January and makes it challenging to write decentralized exams in that semester. However, I still had to write Micro 2, only offered in the fall semester at HSG and at my partner university as well, so I couldn't write it there. If I had thought about it earlier, as I suggest you, I probably would have written Micro 2 in 3rd semester, so I could do Micro 2 in spring semester in my exchange. Yes. Furthermore, you have to be aware that you must write statistics, empirical social research, and fundamental of computer science at the HSG. So it does not make much sense to postpone these subjects. Therefore, I took statistics and empirical social research directly in the 3rd semester and computer science in the 4th, what I would recommend you to do so as well. Secondly, do you want to do an additional qualification? So as business journalism, business education, or computer science? If you want to do so, you usually have to spend practically all compulsory electives and contextual credits on the additional qualification. And if you decide on this later on in your studies, if you want to do an additional qualification and have already taken subjects in these areas, it will most likely be that you have to do more credits in the end, like extra credits. Therefore, I think it's worthwhile to start already in the first semester, or at least decide on it. Then the third point is, do you want to do a specialization? If so, you should also start in the third semester, because even if you still have capacity for the subjects afterwards and like your credits, you often have to spend all 500 points when bidding to get into the specific course. So you can usually only take one class for the specialization per semester, or a maximum of 2. But I mean, like, this can differ from specialization to specialization and from course to course. So it's not every time the case, but it may well be. And then you need like 4 semesters to take all courses to complete the specialization. Also keep in mind that if you want to go to an exchange, it may be hard to find a subject there which you can credit as well to your specialization. So maybe it's better to have it completed before going to the exchange. Lastly, when bidding, I would always recommend to take a look at the professional exam schedule and to see how the exams for your chosen courses will be distributed. I have always made sure that they are spread out reasonably well and not right after each other. So I still have some time between the exams to study for the next one. You can find this professional exam schedule on the student web. Those were my experience, tips and tricks in a nutshell. If you have more questions, you can ask me them in the end. And in general, I would advise you to have a good look at the university's course schedule, which is published. Know precisely which courses and how many credits you must do in which area, and then divide the courses over the 4 semesters according to your own preferences and strengths.
So thank you, Salome. I would take on the last point that Salome mentioned. There's a website, you might know it, maybe from the assessment year, that is called courses.unisg.ch, where you can find all the information sheets where is in detail explain what is the content of the course, what you have to do for that course, and when it will take place. So it is for all of the core studies and also for all of the contextual studies. What is important, and we will talk a little bit about it afterwards, is the capstone project and also the bachelor thesis, as they are 2 ending elements of your bachelor studies that are a little bit more special than the other courses. So Salome mentioned it before, within your core studies, you're able to have a specialization. Within the Bachelor of Business Administration, we have now 9 profile areas that you can do a specialization in. They are reaching from marketing to, accounting, controlling, auditing, to entrepreneurship. To gain a specialization, you have to do 4 core electives within that specialization, and also one of your ending elements, so of the final elements, either your bachelor thesis or a capstone project. We recommend to you to start thinking about this one early on. So, for example, if you're interested in gaining the specialization in strategic management, consider this during your bidding in this semester and also in the other semesters. But if you want to change it, or if you're not sure which profile area fits you well, you can do one in this semester, and then maybe afterwards in the next semester you can do 2 or 3. If you have questions concerning this profile areas or any other questions concerning the curriculum, you can always write us an email or also a call or come by to our office. We have also speaking hours and we'll advise you during this. So mentioned you are able to do this voluntary specialization, it is important that you know that you don't have to. So if you're okay with it, that you think like, okay, I don't want to do a specialization, it's fine. As mentioned, you have to do 4 core electives in one of the profile areas and either the capstone or the bachelor thesis. Important to know for you is that a specialization is not guaranteed. So we cannot guarantee you a specialization in, for example, informatics. And also important to know is that you cannot sign up. So you're not signing up for this, but you're bidding during the bidding phases of the courses. So you bid, for example, for a course and then you take it. And at the end, if you complete it successfully, it will be accredited towards your specialization in this profile area. At the end of your studies, you will get a diploma supplement. So you will get your diploma, and at the end, the additional page where it is written that you have taken this specialization. This might be a good signaling, for example, for the university or also for employers that know, like, okay, you're specialized in this field. So I would recommend you to have a look at it at the different profile areas. In Canvas, we have short videos of each of the profile area where the profile area manager explains a little bit about it, what the aim of the profile area is and what courses you have to take within the areas. To have also a student's perspective, today with us is Felix, who will tell you a little bit about his specialization and how he got to it.
Thank you, and hi from me as well. I would like to briefly introduce myself first. My name is Felix. I'm from Salzburg in Austria, and I'm now starting my 5th semester at the HSG and my 3rd semester in the Bachelor of Business Administration. When I started bidding for my bachelor's degree in the summer after my assessment year, I was, like many of you probably are right now, a bit overwhelmed at the beginning. So I started asking friends from higher semesters for advice regarding the bidding and the specializations. And this advice, coupled with my experiences, I would like to pass on to you, especially if you want to do a specialization. I myself am doing the specialization in accounting, controlling, and auditing, which is also a compulsory subject named exactly like it. And I personally somehow slipped into the subject. In my first BBA semester, I took a course in this area and really enjoyed it. In addition, my mentor from the HSG mentoring program works in this very field, so I was already able to get to know this area from an expert's point of view. Through a specialization, you have the opportunity to build up a very broad knowledge in your own desired area, which certainly is at least a plus point for later applications for universities, internships, or jobs. In the previous semester, I personally took 2 courses in the ACA specialization and have now completed 3 of the 4 required courses. So it is possible to do more than 1 course, but not always very likely, as these courses are within one specialization are often at the same time. So it is often not possible to complete more than 1 course per semester without overlaps. And this is something you should definitely pay attention to when planning your semester. That means if you would follow the suggested curriculum in the first 2 semesters, it will be very difficult to do the required 4 courses without overlaps in the last 2 semesters. And of course, one has to consider a possible exchange where you can or cannot complete courses within your specialization. It, of course, gets significantly easier if you plan on doing your bachelor's in more than just the 4 semesters, so you have more time to complete the courses. Some courses in the specialization also require prior knowledge from the corresponding compulsory subjects, and this should also be kept in mind. Otherwise, it might be difficult to find enough courses without prerequisites in a certain specialization. Plus, you should consider that if you want to complete your specialization, you should be willing to write your bachelor thesis in this topic, as it is not always easy to get a spot in the required capstone project. And concerning specializations, I have now prepared 3 general advices for you. My first advice is to simply ask for advice. I only have 1 specialization in ACA and can otherwise only speak in general terms from things I have heard from friends. For example, if you're interested in the growing field of computer science, ask other students who have already taken courses within this specialization for recommendations or tips. My second recommendation would be to just follow your interests. In my opinion, it is not very useful to do a specialization just to have a specialization. If you're not sure what you want to do or where exactly your specific interests lie, choose different courses that are exciting to you, regardless of the specialization. Maybe this way you will find a passion in a field you would have never thought of before. I personally choose the courses only because they are the courses that generally interest me the most, and I can definitely see myself working in that field later. Through the many guest lectures I've had so far within my specialization courses, I also think I've gotten a good picture of different professions in the field, which I certainly wouldn't have had the chance to do so quickly without the specializations. My third tip would be, if you decide to do a specialization, as mentioned before, start early, in the first semester or the second semester in your bachelor. Otherwise, it could be very hard to still complete the 4 mandatory electives. And maybe just have a look at the document you can see and study not about the optional voluntary specializations before bidding, and maybe some area will catch your eye directly. There are also short introductory videos on YouTube for all the specializations. All in all, a specialization is a great chance to get deep knowledge in a topic that really interests you, and certainly, at least for me, one of the best parts of my bachelor studies. That's it with my short insights into the specialization from my point of view. Feel free to post any questions on the Menti or ask them later in the Q&A.
Thank you very much, Felix. I would like to take up on the one thing that Felix mentioned. So if you don't know anyone that, did a specialization in informatics, you can always write us, and we can link you to some students that are in the higher semesters that are taking the specialization, and maybe they can you can ask them some questions and they can give you some answers different from us, so more insight into this one. So now it was mentioned sometimes the capstone project. Maybe some of you have heard about it, maybe some don't. A quick introduction of the capstone project. It is one of the new elements or alternate elements within the Bachelor in Business Administration. It is, beside the bachelor thesis, it is the second element to complete your bachelor. And the objective within this capstone project is that you apply all the knowledge that you have gained during your studies on a real world problem. So it is always with praxis partners, so firms and companies that pose a problem or issue, and you solve these problems within a group. It is always a multi-phase project that serves always as a crowning academic and intellectual experience for you students, but I think also for the companies that are participating within it. As already mentioned, you can take a capstone project within a specialization, but you don't have to. So there are different capstone projects every semester. You can take the capstone project in the fall semester or in the spring semester. We would highly recommend you to take the capstone project in the higher semesters after you've already completed some of your core studies. So you have some knowledge and you can apply this knowledge that you've learned to the project. Now I would also like Salome to tell you a little bit more about her experience in the capstone project and what goes right and what could go wrong.
Okay, hi again. Now I'm going to share with you my experience and some recommendations on the capstone. As already mentioned, this is one of the courses that changed quite a bit with the BVL reform and took place this year for the first time in the new format. So we were like the first students who had this in this format. I personally really enjoyed the capstone project. I found this one of the most exciting and educational courses in the bachelor's program at all. What I liked most about the capstone project that was that the variety of the assignments. So we have, for example, like presentations to do, PowerPoints, you need to write some papers, you must do a video, you have some field research, or maybe as well like interviews, like depending on the capstone. And there is a really hands-on nature. In my experience, many of the skills you learn during the capstone project can be used again in other courses afterwards, as well like courses from the university, but I think as well for the bachelor thesis. The most significant difference to other group work, as you know it, maybe for example from the IP work, is that it's not a hypothetical case study. In the case of the capstone project, you have a client or an inquiring company. In our case, for example, it was the Julius Baer Foundation and the CSI. And at the end of the semester, you have to present your findings or your product or sell, depending on the project, to the client and your lecturer, who will as well grade you. For the capstone project to be successful, in my opinion, the following 3 points are crucial. The first point is, first, listen to your client and instructors' feedback, reflect on it, and implement it accordingly. My tip is not to be afraid to going back 3 steps or redoing something. In this context, my second tip is to give yourself enough time at the beginning to narrow down the topic, etc., and not to start too quickly and too specifically. But again, I'm speaking out of my experience. This can, of course, differ from topic to topic and from capstone project to capstone project, whether you get like a specific question or you have like to define it yourself, as we had to. Second point is challenge each other in the group as well. If you disagree on a point, you should discuss it openly, but for sure on a professional level or basis. Out of the experience from my group, this can be very time consuming and not necessarily pleasant, especially when it's like already late in the evening or you worked long the day. But in the end, however, we always found that it added value to our project. Often these points were still somewhat unclear and needed to be looked at more closely, but we were not aware of it beforehand. So you should really do it. This is like my recommendation. And the third point is that, in my opinion, the group is key. See that you can maybe do the project with fellow students you already know, with whom it harmonizes. But even though if you don't know like all the students from your group, I didn't know it as well, it can turn out well. I think it always needs a bit of luck, but I think it will become a great experience. We practically always met as a group to work together on the capstone. However, even if everyone was like working on something else, we could ask the others directly if someone needed help or someone had a question. And I think this was very cool. We often met as well earlier and had like lunch together or went for a drink afterwards, and this meant that there was always like something fun and something relaxed beside all the work you have to do, and it's like time intensive, but it makes fun, and with this we have like it balanced a little bit. For me personally, as well, as I already said, this contributed a lot to the fact that I enjoyed working on the capstone. I think you can take away a lot from the capstone project. You can gain a lot of knowledge, as I already mentioned before, which can be applied to other courses. For me, for example, we had to do a lot of consulting slides. And when I took strategic management, we often had like group projects where we had to do it as well. I did it in exchange. I don't know how it is in Task, but there I could apply this knowledge and I had like a bit of an advantage then. You can build like strong friendships, and sometimes they will offer you as well like an internship or something similar, as it was the case for us. And so I think, to summarize, in my opinion, you can only look forward to the capstone because I think you will really enjoy it.
Thank you very much, Salome, for sharing your experience. As you can see, you have to put in hard work for the capstone project, but you also gain like friendship and a lot of insights about, well, a company, but also about a sector or industry that company works in, and you can solve a real world problem. Now to the other, well, final element of your bachelor studies. One time in your bachelor studies, you will have to write a bachelor thesis. I'm sorry about that one. You can choose to write the bachelor thesis within a specialization, or you can write it without a specialization. So what we can recommend to you is that you start to look for a bachelor thesis supervisor early on. So maybe not this semester because it's a little bit early, but maybe by the end of the next semester, so before you go to your summer holidays, after writing all the central examinations, and you also have like an idea what you want to write or which topics interest you, try to contact any supervisors that you are interested in. In order to find the supervisor more easily, we will put on a list of all the supervisors and potential topics that they supervise by the next week on Canvas. So in Canvas, there will be a special section for the bachelor thesis with an Excel sheet where you can look at the different topics and supervisors supervising these topics. We will recommend to you that you choose then a bachelor thesis that you're really interested in, because it's a big part of your studies, and you will spend a lot of time within it. All other informations regarding the scope and how to find a supervisor can also be found in Student Web, and the Excel sheet and the topic sheet will be in Canvas from next week on. So after then completing all of your studies and also the capstone project and the bachelor thesis, you might be looking at for the next steps of your career. We would like to point out the HSG mentoring program. As Felix mentioned before, he was kind of interested in doing the specialization in ACA because he was talking to his mentor about it. The HSG offers mentoring programs each year, and from September to October, you can apply for the next round of the mentoring program. I would really highly recommend to you to take on this possibility and opportunity. This was it from our side. Here you have our contact details, so you can reach us, I think, almost in every possible channel that exists. You can come in and walk in at the Müller-Friedbergstraße. We're above the co-working space, if you know it, and also you can phone us, or you can write us on Instagram or write us an email if you want to know something in more detail, or if you have still questions concerning your studies. With this, I would thank you very much for your attention and your time, and I wish you a great start of your bachelor studies and great fun with the lectures.